And Nickelodeon got this new filter, the slime filter. Y'all, you see that? Y'all ready? Kids' Choice Awards. I'm your host, Nickelodeon. 2019. This is insane. It's incredible.
On the podcast today, I have my cousin, Ben Clausen. He was Rhode Island All-American lacrosse player, Roanoke lacrosse player, transferred to, you went to where? The Boston School of Museum Fine Arts of Boston. If I said that a little weird. And now you are a senior art designer at Trigger. That's pretty impressive. So besides the podcast, man, how's everything going? You kind of cooped up with work a little bit?
Yeah, I'm grinding on this Lego project right now, like really hard. I presented to the Lego team this morning at 8 a.m. In Denmark, and it was the head of their design and head of their user experience to go over all the shit I've been doing for the last month. And,
snap, bro.
Yeah,
so what happened, bro? How'd it go?
It went well. It was, they're on our team because they want a great product, and that's what we're trying to make. But, there's some feedback and a lot of edits and notes, good suggestions and stuff. So all made sense.
So you work for Trigger, and is that employed by Lego?
Yeah. So we do a lot of specialty work, and this is like a specialty project that big brands bring in specialists to do projects within their corporation and company. So that is basically how we get a ton of our work is coming in and doing certain things within a company.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I've been lucky. I've worked on a bunch of Lego projects, which is cool. Lego's cool.
I think I kind of want to start this with, you kind of know what I'm doing. I've been doing this sports podcast thing for about 1.5 years now. I came up with the idea 2.5 years ago, and I'm trying to edge my way into the creative world, the podcast world, something that I don't really have much experience for. I never went to school for, and it's been kind of a lot of ups and downs, some success, some failure. I've had some good. I've taken some steps with this thing, but I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I sort of thought I'd reach out to some people who are in the creative worlds who do this for a living, or some other people who, like me, are trying to figure it out and just sort of, pick their brain a little bit, talk to them, get some advice, see what you're doing that works. Because I feel like there's a lot of people like me who want to branch out and try something new and become a writer, start a podcast, work with photography and things like that, who don't really know what they're doing. So I guess my first question for you is at what point, the entire time I've known you my whole life, and I've always known you to be an artist and have artistic skills. But at what point did you say, okay, this is something that's a hobby for me, and that's something that I kind of want to take serious with my life, and this is a passion? Where did this whole journey for you begin, I guess? If you could kind of walk me through that to where mentally where you were at to where you're now employed as a full-time, senior design guy.
Sure. Yeah. Interesting. You said something about did this stem kind of from a hobby into a profession? And I was thinking to myself there, I don't know if it was really ever a hobby for me, at least in my kind of mind here. I think the creative side of me has always been there. Like so many of people, I believe all people have a creative side of their brain, and it's there and ready to kind of come out. So for me, that has always kind of been present, but I was never really that person who walked around with a sketchbook and was always just buried in the creative field. As you mentioned, I played a lot of sports and stuff, and but I always liked doing creative things, and specifically art, and that stuff came easier to me. So you get better in life by challenging yourself, and challenging yourself takes a lot of hard work. So when you're trying to kind of figure out what you want to do, I mean, it's kind of a natural decision to kind of move into something that you don't find too challenging, something that might come a little bit easier to you. So to get kind of back to your question, like, yeah, the creative field and art in when I was younger, art class, and those things kind of came easier to me. So I moved naturally kind of in that direction. And that looked like many different things. When you're younger, you kind of look for these areas to be creative in, and teachers try to give you guidance, but it's not always easy. So as you kind of mature, you kind of find your disciplines and where you want to try to focus your energy. And for me, that was with the graphic arts, so graphic design and web design. And part of that decision was the kind of profession behind it. And so that journey there is kind of a natural one, and that I think a lot of people wish they may have taken or might have wanted to take, but our society doesn't necessarily value those paths always. But if you find something that works for you, you got to pursue it in life.
Yeah, dude, I remember I took art classes just like randomly as electives when I was in high school growing up. And then I remember it was my senior year. I didn't have to take one, so I just wanted the extra free period. And I remember at the time thinking, like, going through the year, being like, holy crap, I didn't realize how much I appreciated that class until I wasn't doing it. That time of the day just to let loose and sort of let yourself draw or paint, to do whatever you wanted. And like, I didn't take any classes for a long time, and it wasn't a while until I picked up a camera and started shooting stuff. And like, I sort of like struggled with school as well when I was a kid, except I wasn't a good artist. I didn't gravitate towards the art. I gravitated towards math. I was always really good at math and the analytics and stuff. Whereas like history, reading, writing, and science stuff was difficult for me. And I think that like, that's sort of what brought me here is with the sports stuff. I've always sort of understood like X's and O's and like, all right, like here's a problem, let's solve it in life and shit like that. So I think that like that's what gravitated me towards sports so much, and trying to edge my way in somehow with sports.
Yeah, I mean, and now this kind of curiosity and kind of drive to get into the podcast and some of these different creative fields, like
I think your video just went out. Oh, there we go. Good, you're good.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's always been there in you, and there's so many different ways to apply. I mean, this is the thing. I heard this whole thing about left brain and right brain, and people always say, "Oh, I'm more left side brained," and the creative is one or the other. I mean, I heard this whole thing about how that's just not true, and that we all have kind of the same like setup, and one side of the brain doesn't like mean creativity versus math. So that was reassuring to hear, because like I was saying, like I think everyone has this creative like energy and skill, and you just need to find it and hone it. So when you find something you like and it's like a little bit easier for you, like you want to go in that direction. Like if you like doing video editing and you can sink into that, then that's where you want to spend your time and energy in life. And if you can possibly make it into a career and support yourself a little by doing it, I think that is getting closer to that whole concept of loving what you do for a living, which is debatable, but you're getting closer there when you're following those passions,
Well, there's like the love what you do. I think that like, yeah, you definitely want to go for something you love what you do. But I think the more you do it, like even watching sports and trying to do the sports podcast, it seems a little bit like work now. And although like I love it and stuff like that, there's the two sides of that. It becomes work. But let me ask you this. What are your like, And what are your short term, what are your medium and long term goals for like what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so goals in my kind of career and where I'm kind of at, you know, I've grinded it out to get to this point in my career, and I approached work much like you hear athletes approach their training, and just you grind, you go hard, you never turn down an opportunity, and you make all the deadlines and get all the jobs done, and worry about how you're going to do it later, and just grind it out. And that work ethic has gotten me to kind of where I am. And the daily grind as a creative is challenging at times, but I step back from what I'm doing, and you pause and you're like, you're lucky that some people like looking at a spreadsheet all day. That's not my brain. And I think, I value the hard work I've put in to be able to make like creative decisions all day. But for the goal stuff, I mean, right now I'm in this field of augmented and virtual reality. And to me, that is the forward kind of moving medium right now in the digital kind of world. The virtual reality stuff during the COVID whole scenario is like kind of really getting a little bump again, because people are using it to step outside their boundaries and escaping reality a little bit. And we are kind of excited about some of the push and buzz about that going on right now. So, I want to stay in this field. That would be a goal for me, because it's moving in a direction that I think is valuable, not just for e-commerce, but to help people with health conditions, and to help train doctors and mechanics. And obviously there's a whole entertainment side of virtual and gaming and all that, but there's some really cool aspects of it too. So that is something I'm trying to kind of stay in tune with and move along with the kind of pace of the digital world right now.
So I think I might have skipped over this. Like, exactly what do you do for Trigger? Like on the daily, like your daily stuff?
So I am a senior designer there, and I do a lot of art direction as well. So basically we have a creative director, and he works with the strategy department and the marketing department to nail a concept, get the client to sign off, and then he gives the art directors the vision, and we have to understand it the best we possibly can. And he's our boss, and we try to get it really quickly, and then we work with the engineers and the sound designers and the 3D artists and the motion designers and all the different developers to kind of craft this experience. And it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and you get to see these experiences come together and work with like a lot of different talented designers.
So let me ask you this, man. Like myself, what led me to get here to want to like express myself this way was I've had sort of like a bumpy road to get to this point. I've had like a lot of failure with school, with like a ton of other stuff in my life. And I finally found something that I like really love to do and I have a passion for and shit. So like, I know you've sort of had bumpy road at times with your career and other things as well, man. So I guess like my question for you is like, how do you deal with that failure? Like, how do you like move forward from it and shit like that, whether it's in your personal life, work life, family, like, because that's been tough for me.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. I've had some, I've lived out in Los Angeles. I'm 3,000 miles away from my core fam. And this is the thing. I've had like, bumpiness is part of life. That's life on life's terms, and it comes and goes. And this is the thing: you got to be able to look at the big picture. You have to, and you got to be able to step out of your zone, your everyday consciousness that focuses on the here, the now, the when, the survival, the human instinct. You got to be able to step outside that a little bit and say, look at where I am. This is where I want to be. This is where I'm headed. This is like, I was at this really good agency. I was designing, art directing on a big campaign, and Orange is the New Black, and it was like a hot one. It just won a bunch of awards, and I got fired, like dismissed essentially in front of like a handful of people. I mean, it wasn't like embarrassing, but like it wasn't comfortable.
Public?
Yeah, I mean, it was in the office, and the creative director was like, yeah, like I want to get a replacement. And they were like, that's Ben's replacement. And he's like, get him in here. And I was like, what?
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, like, but yeah, I mean, I was struggling. I mean, the pace was hard at that company, and I was like grinding it every day, getting in early, leaving late, getting my ass kicked all day. And I'm down for that, but it was not ideal, and you learn a lot. You take away from those moments. Like it was like, it stung a little bit, but shit, like I learned a ton. I got a little, you get a little thicker skin. You realize what you're getting into, and that was a huge jumping off point for me, because I used that kind of moment to really kind of take a pause, see where I was going in my career, know that you gotta have successes come, but failures come too, and you can be riding high on a really good campaign, and boom, and it's all about how you process that and keep moving.
It's kind of like how they say in sports, man, you're only as good as your last win. You know what I mean? Like, you could be like riding high and then like fucking take a digger, and the next thing you know, you're fired.
Yeah, you gotta it's very true. I mean, I came out of college in the height of the recession, 2009, 10, and yeah, I mean, that's when, and I freelanced for a while. I'd go into these big agencies, and yeah, if you don't get it on day one, like you're not going to be there at the end of day two, type of deal.
So what was
there'll be 2 days for sure, but not more than that, to pick up on the concept, pick up on the campaign, and start designing and executing. So it's there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. There's some funny memes out there about creatives like withering away because of the kind of demand it takes. But at the end of the day, you're like being creative, using making things, and that kind of evens it out a little bit sometimes.
So what was it like moving? So you moved out to LA as a freelancer without job security. It was you and your girlfriend at the time, your dog,
Yeah.
and that must have been a little scary, right?
It was, yeah. I mean, I was naive about it, right? I mean, you think, oh yeah, you're gonna land something. Yeah, you'll definitely get a job. But yeah, I mean, when you really thrust yourself into the job scene, it's tricky in creative scene as well. But I gotta say, man, like nowadays I'm on the other side of that, and I can sit in. I've done some like interviewing of other creatives and developers, and like when the college question comes up, oh, what school did you go to? Like, I'm barely listening. I'd want to see what you've done, your work, try to get a gauge on your work ethic, and like see if you're like a normal person, cool, and like you can vibe. So when the back east in New England, people really value and put a huge emphasis and a little bit of snobbery on education. Like out in California, it's like not such a thing, man. It's what you do, what you make, and I work with some really cool people who like, they, the school thing wasn't like their top thing, but damn, they are really good motion graphic designers, and that's like what's up.
So it's interesting that you said like you came out here and you struggled to find a job and things, and then now that it's all these years, how many years from when you first got out there to when you got the senior design job? I know you
10
had
years.
stuff in between. So you had some stuff in between. You got fired, and then
A lot of stuff in between, a lot. And that's one thing I was going to say to you. I mean, this journey, it took me 10 years to get 8 years to get real security, where I knew, like, I was like, okay, I'm finishing a project. I know I can pick up another project. That took 8 years. And yeah, I mean, that's what people told me it would take. And that it's not a joke, and part of that time is networking, establishing your network, working for various companies. I worked for a few companies I can mention that people instantly are like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, you can come start here. And that took 8 years to get all those companies under my belt and be able to, like, show work for them and know the people there. And that's what you got to do,
Yeah, you said you were naive when you went out there, man. I was kind of like that too. Like when I got the idea to do something like this 2.5 years ago, I didn't put pen to paper for like 11 months. I didn't record my first episode for 11 months. And then it was a year later where I'm here back in New York and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm just going to do a minimum of one show a week. I'm going to grow this show. I'm going to interview with these companies, get hired and do some internship. And like, I had this total huge naive thought that I could like just get a job doing this stuff. And I was so fucking wrong. But I think I was going to say, just like, also with you being on the other side of those interviews now, did that give you a different perspective? And you must have a lot of gratitude after going through that whole experience and seeing things from the other side.
Oh, absolutely. I do. But the thing about what you're saying about, like, making a few things and then, shopping it around and getting hired, like, so many people will say to you, you have to, like, as a creative, any creative, no matter what field you're in, you have to create, you have to create, you have to create, you have to create. And like, it's something you hear all the time. And I can't like kind of stress it enough. Like, you just have to show this, like, so if you want to get like a position somewhere, people, your skill and your style that you have, that's yours, but people can craft you into theirs. Like, oh, we want to make you into this branded style. Like, we have our brand here, say, like, it's ESPN, and we think you're great, so we're going to like grow you into a good ESPN person. But what did they see before that? They didn't see like this person who's already an ESPNer. No, they saw this person that had 1,200 sports podcasts. Yeah. So they saw someone who's just freaking passionate about their craft, and they said, anyone who's like cool and funny and passionate about this, yeah, let's get them in here, because we'll train them and we'll show them what's up. And that's how it's done. You know what I mean? In many cases. So you don't need school for that. You don't need like a creative degree. You just need to be passionate and to make and create and be humble and take opportunities as they come and present themselves. And that's in any creative field, anything.
Yeah, dude, man, it's no, I'm still trying to just like, I think that this time with the coronavirus, I've been unemployed for like 45 days now. And I think the first 30 of it, I realized like, oh my gosh, I have all this free time. I'm going to create this cool, funny content. I'm going to do these dumb TikToks making fun of people. And like, I did a bunch of shit. I produced a bunch of really shitty stuff, and then I'm afraid to like let out and like even produce. And it kind of took me like over a month to come up with an idea. Okay, let's talk about what's going on right now. For me, I'm struggling to do a podcast. Why don't I come up with this idea where I could reach out to some people who are in this field and do a podcast about talking to them about their journeys and their past, and like, shoot the shit a little bit and catch up. Because like, besides you, I haven't talked to all these guys. I haven't talked to some of these guys in like 5-10 years. So it's just like, it's just kind of I don't know, it kind of hit me. And I was listening to videos on how to do podcasts. I was listening to somebody just started, Erica Nardini, who runs Barstool Sports, started a podcast called The Token CEO, where she just talks for 10 minutes a day. And I was like, damn, maybe if I just do if I bring it down from the 45-minute sports monologue that I suck at already, maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to throw shit at the wall, you know what I mean? And see if it sticks.
That's what you got to do, man. And I think that is fucking awesome. And it's, it takes a little bit of courage, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And, you just got to create, and throw stuff at the wall.
Yeah, we can swear in this. I don't know. I don't want to embarrass you with your job or anything like that. But
no, I don't mind. I don't care. Right. I swear.
I swear. Fuck. Shit. Cock.
I do.
I'm just kidding. What was I going to say? In terms of okay, I have a question for you. So I have been over the last year sort of trying to build my minds in more of, I've been trying to move towards a more healthier lifestyle, mentally, physically, what I put in my body, how I treat my body. Over this quarantine, I've been doing a little bit of meditation. I've been trying to diet, limit the alcohol, and I've been expressing myself through that. I did the 30-day vegan challenge, which I was posting all over my Instagram, and I got people are reaching out to me, and they're giving me some hate. They're saying, "Bro, you're not an influencer. Stop doing what you're doing. You're not going to change anything the food industry." And I'm thinking yo, man, I'm trying to positively promote some shit, and you're throwing me hate. And
right.
So my question for you is have you ever had to deal with naysayers and negativity and people throwing shade at your work, whether your work's not good enough or your family or anything like that? What's up with that?
Well, last week I had a client get a little annoyed with, a client was upset with some comments on Facebook on this thing I made. And you wonder if they're trolls or what. And the thing, I haven't experienced much of that kind of negativity in my life. And I always keep people negative people and bad juju like that. You got to keep them 10,000 miles away. And, even when I played sports, I never even heard that stuff. It was always just when I literally didn't hear it. So I never even got good at talking shit back. I'm so bad at it. And recently I've been playing FIFA, PlayStation. I don't really game, but I've been playing that one game against a buddy, and he talks a bunch of shit, and I have no idea how to and I don't even win in it. So that's totally that's not something that happens often. So yeah, it's a trip. It's a total trip.
I think it's I was talking to my friend that I think it's a good skill to be able to argue and debate and be able to give it back to people, because I've worked in the restaurant industry for a pretty long time, and the more I get into it, the shittier people I have to deal with on a daily basis. And, I'm at the point now where I manage a bar once a week. So on Sunday nights, football season, there's no owners, there's no general managers. I got the keys. I make sure everything fucking goes right. And I got to deal with all the dudes who get wasted, who got the Packers jerseys on and the Steelers jerseys. And it's helped dealing with people. Confrontation has actually really helped me, because I have to deal with people getting in my face and getting in other people's face. And it's it's a life skill. And I'm kind of I've never been controversial. I've always been passive. And it's I kind of like being able to deal with these shitheads,
Yeah, there are a lot of good skills out there that applies to you, man. I mean, basically what it comes down to is you're good working with other people. And I think that's like I was saying with the creative stuff and being on the other side of the interviews, you want to see people that will vibe and can gel with people and work well with people and have patience with people. So they're all key values.
Yeah, I always try to look at, man, there's being in New York City, you work with so many people. I'm sure out in California too. There's so many people with different backgrounds who are completely different with you, that come from other countries. And it's I don't know how you got to try to find something you can relate to these people on. And that's why I think sports is so cool.
So true, man. You're absolutely right. And I will tell you this, you know, whenever you're with like higher ups, you know, because higher ups and companies, a lot of those people like hang around and sit around and watch sports on the weekends. They watch golf or watch like the basketball and all that. So like bosses and stuff, they always know what's going on with sports for the most part. So to always like have a read on like the score from last night or what's going on in that world, a higher up will walk by and you'll just be like, yo, catch the game last night, blah, blah, blah. And it's like instant little like connection, you know, and that's good.
It's a cool way to like take little jabs too, because if you know that their like team did bad, you could be like, oh yeah, that Aaron Rodgers man, ooh, like my boss is like a Conor McGregor guy, so it's like always Khabib and shit like that. But
I'll tell you something that's kind of funny at my work. Like, you know, I generally playing sports, especially as we get older and I get into these like companies and stuff, like I don't want to be like kicking other people's asses, right? When we play like a friendly game of basketball or something, you know, and like, so I like go pretty easy around the like sports in my professional career. But recently I'm like, you know, I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I have a fucking skill and that I can be good out here. So all of a sudden we have this company volleyball tournament and I'm like, I'm not like losing and we're going to win. And I start just like serving up fucking aces and smashing it at people. And like, we fucking won. Yeah, and the same thing happened the next year, and I think we have a company kickball game coming up, and I'm so ready to start pinning people and smashing that ball, and just it's gonna be good, man.
So I have, like, when I was younger, I always thought like, oh, be nice, play down to people's level, man. No, I like don't care. You go 100 all the time. If you're doing work people and there's like little Stephanie and you're smashing the ball in her face, like maybe take it down a notch a little on that. But like, I think you go balls to the walls. I made the mistake once in high school of playing down to a football team's level. I could have had a pick six and I instead let him catch the ball and then went for the tackle. And my coach reamed me out so hard, bro. He's like, do not let up on these guys. They suck. We're up by 40. Let's go up by 60. I think like, I think that's the mentality you got to have in life. And I don't think it's like rub it in those guys' face, but like if you step on the court, man, go for the kill. Yeah. And so
I mean, it's really good to hear you say that and just confirm it, because I know the last time we stepped on a court, I kicked your butt. So
my dude, you use my sister as a pick. You use Scarlett as a pick. So that's not
every time.
No, bro.
Feels good.
No, if I remember, we played a game at 21, and I was in like fucking like hiking shoes, and it was me and like on Venice Beach. And
guy, my snowsuit on, snowshoes, Huskies. Yeah, I was playing in Venice Beach.
No, bro, it was a good tactical move by you.
Jordans on, bro.
It was a good move by you because you knew Scarlett wasn't as fast as me. So I was on her right and you went to her side. So I bumped into her, even though that was fun.
Right.
I'll bring, I bought a pair. It's so well, man. I actually bought a pair of basketball shoes last time I went out there and played at Venice Beach. Where were you?
Where was I? I don't know.
I don't know.
I was sleeping, bro. I was probably tired from being creative all week.
Yo, is it a drag? Is it like an absolute drag?
To do that
just like your job is it like so tiring?
Yeah, totally, man. Yep.
Does it take the fun out of it at all?
Day in and day out, and it's not even like you get a break. Like if you have 3 hours like to kill in between a project, there's another project that you got to start on and chip away at. So there's no like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling like creative today, or like that's what my boss. He's a creative professional. Like the guy can be creative even in like the worst mood, because you get good at it. You know how to execute these ideas. So
there's no like Friday lunch, we're going to go out and like take the rest of the afternoon off.
Never, ever. Especially even my neighbors are like, oh, like, like my friends, oh, like what your work, the hours and the grind, like you're always so busy. I'm like, I work at an agency, and it's a digital agency, and the digital world moves fast, and agencies move fast, and then our agency is probably one of the fastest agencies. So my boss has said to me, like, I know we move really fast for an agency, so keep grinding, man, because it's been hard. It's been hard at times. So
Has it taken any of the enjoyment out of the artistic, like, because you probably got into this because you love to do it? Is it still like that, or is this like a job and you don't really think about that as much?
you don't think about that as much, but it's a grind and it does take away. But like, I remember recently I was working on a football game for the NFL. It was for Pepsi, and I was working with Matthew Stafford and a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Wow.
So I had to get both of the 3D artists in my company to create them in a 3D version, and then get them to approve themselves in a 3D character version. And then I had to like explain to the animators and the 3D artists how to have them throw a football, and what that looks like, and how their hands should rotate, and where their feet should go. And there were 21 animations just to get a receiver and a quarterback to snap the ball, have the receiver run off the line, do a simple post, catch the ball, and stop.
So how long does that take, and where was this all posted?
Well, so the experiences were the games on Snapchat.
You told me
and
about
it was
this.
posted all around like Pepsi branded stuff around Steelers and Pittsburgh like areas. And then it took months, just to create a little game, and a long time. I mean, I remember, this is the thing. I was out in the parking lot, and I was recording all these videos as animation references with the football of me. I played quarterback, and I'm throwing the football with a project manager video recording me in slow motion, so I can show the 3D artists like how the like, your leg should swing, and I'm like stressed. It's hot in the parking lot. I'm sweating, and I was having a long day, and I'm like, dude. And I just took a quick pause, and I'm like, think about what you're doing right now. You're video recording yourself throwing a football for like a Pepsi game with NFL. Like, you got to check yourself, man. This is like, you could be doing a lot of other things, and this is good.
Okay, so. Yeah, you were looking at that as that was a positive.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm like, I'm lucky to be doing that kind of stuff. It's what I love to do. So,
I've been thinking about that lately. Like, I was telling my friend that, like, I get as a working in the restaurant industry as a bartender, like, I just get paid to like talk to people and like ask them how their day is and serve them drinks. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes I get paid pretty well according to me. And it's kind of like there are so many other shitty jobs in the world that make half as much as what I do, and it's like I get paid to just chat with you guys. You know what I mean? It's wild.
I do know what you mean, man. I mean, this is the other thing. There are a ton of other jobs out there that might make more money and might have less hours and all that stuff, but the people aren't happy doing them. And if you find a job that you find happiness doing, then you are well above many, many people out there. And, that is also to say that you don't have to love work. I mean, work is work. You can go to work and check out. So you can work any job you want and come home and be the most creative person out there, and a lot of people do that because like supporting yourself full time as a creative, it's usually, I came out of school, that was like my thing. I like chipped away at it, but usually it's like a staged approach. I can kind of tell people, like, if you have a regular job, you need a regular job to support yourself, well, then you're going to be doing projects at night and on the weekend. And once you get enough projects to get a portfolio, well, then you shop your portfolio around to some agencies, and then you get picked up. But that initial grind of weekend and night work I mean, it's like anything else in life. It's hard to do, but it comes with great value and payoff.
That was like me, man. My plan was to just wait tables at night and do this like, minimally or medium, 30 hours a week or something. And then try to do the sports podcast during the day and on the weekends and stuff like that. But what happened is I fell into the trap of like, I made this I was trying to do this full time and have the job be my side hustle, when it ended up flipping around and I started working 50 hours a week and did this very minimally. And this is a side hustle. And I'm trying to like, I'm at a point where with all this free time, it's giving me this mindset of like, no, this is what you really want to do. Don't take the short cash, like get by. Don't be blowing money, going out and doing shit. Make as much money as you can to live by and invest in your product and spend your time doing this shit. That's what the mindset that over this coronavirus that I've gained, because it's really easy to fall in the trap of just like making the fast cash, working in the industry, restaurant industry. I have a question.
That's the thing, man. And you don't want to be saying this exact thing in 15 or 20 years.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. What do you think, like with this whole augmented reality stuff is sort of exploding, like in 20, 30, 40 years from now, could you be like, you kind of get into this stuff early. Could you be like sort of on top of this stuff with all your experience and maybe like doing your own company, or sort of like you continue to climb the ladder a little bit? Do you think about that?
That is the absolute hope. I think I've been really grinding it out in this line of work, and it's been a major adjustment learning the tech and the 3D side of things. And, I'm gathering all the skills, so I think, as this whole world just kind of grows, I think I'm going to be growing with it. And to get into something in the early stages is a total trip. It's a great opportunity for anyone right now. As soon as wearables really, the 5G is going to make things pretty insane. And then when wearables really come along, like the glasses all have the augmented reality stuff in them, watches, phones, and it's going to be pretty next level, and it's where kind of things are headed. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the future of that creative field.
We're gonna see like a Big Benny haha incorporated someday.
No, yeah, I mean, I like I've thought about doing I had a little side gig of my thing going on, but I love being in these big corporations with lots of money and big campaigns, and kind of being along for those rides. They're fun. I created this Nickelodeon slime filter, and a lot of people, like 8 million people, DJ Khaled used it, 8 million users. So that was cool to reach all those kids.
I saw that, man. That was dope. I remember when you were doing that. Yeah. Well, man, I was just going to ask you about, like, what are your thoughts on, like, the Patriots draft, Tom Brady leaving, Bill, Gronk, all that shit, man? What do you...
Sure. Yeah, so Gronkowski going to the Patriots, going down to Tampa with Tom is it's perplexing, it's interesting, but to me, what it highlights most is the brand and the business of the NFL. And I know it's a little bit of a cynical note, but it's true, man. I mean, it's wow, it's going to be entertainment city down there. It's the storylines that are coming out.
Oh my God.
It's insane. It's who doesn't love it? I love it. Everyone loves it. Media loves it. Coaches love it. I mean, I know Bill is probably thrilled. I think he probably thinks it's funny. I mean, I worry about Gronk taking hits and Tom, I think it's all fun and games until, a Panthers comes and blows through you and your knee is they're picking it up on the other sideline, both of them, gosh, I worry about him, but I think it's going to be interesting. I think, I don't know. The whole storyline of, can Tom go down and do, what him and Bill did for many years? Can he do it down there by himself without coach? I don't even like that, you know?
Do you like Bruce Arians at all? I mean, he had some success with the Cardinals. They were close in the playoffs last year.
I saw an article that said Tom Brady came in on his interview with them, and knew the entire offense, impressed the offensive coach, and told him 15 things he was doing wrong and that he wants to improve.
Yeah, really? Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Oh, this article was he came in, knew the entire offense.
I saw that part.
7 things or something that the guy didn't know, and both coaches were blown away.
Yeah, man, I like Bruce Arians. I like that, the Tom Brady effect seems to sort of be kicking in. Everyone's saying oh, I want to play for Tampa Bay. And I mean, they have a pretty good wide receiver core. They had Gronkowski. I think their offensive line is actually, they had the 6th ranked offensive or the 7th ranked offensive line in the league last year. Their center's great. They have a good guard. They just drafted another lineman in the 1st round. I mean, the offense is sort of there. I'm rooting hard. I didn't really care when Gronk, I'm happy that Gronk's back in the league. As long as he hadn't gone to an AFC East team, I'm so happy to watch the guy play football. He's one of my favorite players. He never did anything wrong to the Patriots. He never harmed the Patriots in any way. The only thing he did was wait to the end of free agency to announce his retirement. So the Patriots, there were no tight ends to pick. Besides that, I don't care about any of the off-field stuff. I think it's his business. He can do whatever he wants. He was the hardest working guy to walk through the Patriots doors. One of the greatest tight ends of all time. I mean, he needed a little mental break. I think he even came out and said he was maybe thinking of eyeing a New England Patriots return if Tom Brady had signed there. So I root for the guy. He said he didn't want to play. A couple of years ago, he said, I'm not playing for anybody else but Tom. I think Todd Bowles did a pretty decent job last year as their defensive coordinator. I like Bruce Arians.
I think it's going to be good, man. I mean, it's just such a weird thing, man. It's so weird to see Tom just doing his thing somewhere else. It's so bittersweet, and I'm filled with so many mixed emotions about the whole thing. It's just bizarre to me, man.
The storylines are unbelievable. That's gonna be my favorite part.
It's crazy. There's so many different ones, and the money, and it's insane. It's insane.
They're coming back. They're playing in New England next 2 seasons from now.
2 seasons.
2 seasons. Yeah.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great TV. I'll tell you that. I think there are gonna be a lot of New England fans watching those Tampa Bay games.